Hey, I'm Ryan Keely, and I'm here with Wentworth Miller, and we're talking about Resident Evil Afterlife 3D, which is very exciting. This is your character's first appearance in the franchise, but not in the video games.
I started out in the exact same position because I was asked to play the part. I had never seen the movies and I'd never heard of my character before, so I had some catching up to do. And it was a challenge because there were a lot of different things I wanted to accomplish en route to putting together a performance. One of them was to go and watch some sequences from the actual video games that spoke to my character's history. I wanted to go online and see what the conversation was amongst the fans about who this character was or who they thought he should be. And then there was also, what I bring to the table naturally as an actor. And then there's also the Chris Redfield that's in the movie, which is different than the Chris Redfield who's in the video games. So it was important for me to try to honor the universe that Paul Anderson has created so carefully and my character's place in that universe. So it was really a question of balancing all these different influences as best I could.
So when you go from taking this very two-dimensional video game character, from a first-person shooter game, and you flesh him out for a movie, what is your process? What do you think about, when you're going through that?
Well, I concentrate on not what's unrelatable about the circumstances, which is, this post-apocalyptic scenario with zombies around every corner. That's the fantastic stuff. What I concentrate on is, the things I can relate to. And in this instance, it was the fact that Chris Redfield has a sister, Claire Redfield, and that their bond is immediate and believable and something that your average audience member can easily relate to. And I think it's important to concentrate on those elements, especially in an action-adventure picture, because it can't just be special effects and stunt sequences. You have to actually care about the characters on screen. Otherwise, when something happens to them, it doesn't register. And I think that's a less impactful story.
You've talked previously about how being mixed race growing up has definitely affected you and affected your life. Do you think that the challenges you went through as a youth looking for identity has affected your choice of movie roles?
What I find most interesting about my career path, and of course, I can't speak to why I've gotten certain roles because I wasn't there when the producers or the casting director or the director decided I was the guy. I will say that as far as my my struggle with questions of identity or race, I think it's interesting that I've wound up in the business of acting, because acting is all about casting. It's all about walking into a room full of strangers and basically asking them, how do you see me? In what box would you like to put me? I think that's a very interesting dynamic, interesting to me anyway, and I think perhaps there's something kind of attractive about the idea of slipping into the skin of a character whose identity is there on the page, where I know the beginning, the middle, and the end of their story, whereas, I know the beginning of my story, I know the middle of my story, but still working on the end.
What was your most brutal day of shooting? This is obviously a very acting active.
I'd say brutal / rewarding. The two often go hand in hand when you're an actor. There's something kind of masochistic about acting, which we actually enjoy. I think it was the sequence at the end, or at the end of the movie. There's a climactic kind of showdown between the various characters, and there's a choreographed fight sequence between Claire and Chris and Wesker, the villain, that was directly inspired by the video game. And getting all that down, executing all those moves with three people kind of attacking each other at the same time, and making sure that no one was hurt in the process, and honoring, the demands of the camera and the 3D technology, that was particularly brutal. But when it was done, it was tremendously satisfying, because I thought that's going to be a sequence that hopefully people will remember.